Hello, Shante. For those out there who are new to the channel, my name's Troy, and with me I have a special guest, Shante. Say hello.
Hi,
Hi.
everyone.
And thanks for tuning in. If you are currently watching, we appreciate that. So Shante is a special guest because Shante is a friend of mine who has, in the past, since maybe last April, I'm guessing, I think it was last Easter, right?
Yes.
You started a kind of new diet and lifestyle from what you were doing before. So um, I'm just here to interview Shante and to get her story, to tell her story, because I think it's really inspiring for other people. So Shante, why don't you give a little bit of background about yourself as far as, where you were prior to last April, when it comes to your health, when it comes to diet, whatever you want to share. That's up to you.
Well, last April, I had gone through a year of going through the process of getting gastric bypass
Okay.
surgery. And because I was tired of being sick and tired, basically.
Right.
I was
Sure.
always in pain. I had fibromyalgia. My
Mm.
headaches were horrendous, almost leaving me bedridden at
Mm.
sometimes, and um, I had vertigo really bad to where I just could not drive at all. I
Oh
didn't
my.
wasn't trusted to drive, and my joint pain in my knees was bad to where it was hard to walk.
Oh wow.
So I self-medicated by using, ibuprofen just to get through some days,
Mm.
and that's not good for you either. So
Right.
Um,
Right.
so that's why I look towards you know um, the gastric bypass as a way of as a tool to help me with my weight loss journey.
Okay. So did you go through with that bypass?
No, what happened was on my way to your house, Troy, for Easter dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my husband told me that he did not agree with me having surgery and that he was scared for me
Mm.
and that he did not want me to go through with it. And
Okay.
this kind of burst my bubble and kind of broke my heart at the same time because
Okay.
I was in a lot of pain and I just was kind of excited for that next step, journey to better health.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was sitting down to dinner, it was very hard to socialize with my friends because I was, again, heartbroken.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom was telling me her journey about how she had just lost 35 pounds from a conversation she had with you about changing her lifestyle to a keto lifestyle. And she was
Mm-hmm.
telling me about it. And as she was talking, um, uh, I just started crying
Mm.
because I just felt like it was so what she was saying, she had so much joy when she was talking about how she her weight loss journey and how effortless it was and how she felt. That was the most important thing, was about how she now felt. And it wasn't about the weight, it was about her health, how she felt
Right.
health wise. And that was that was the day that I when I sat down with your mom and you, and I decided, this was a journey that I would like to take as well.
Great. So awesome. So how did you get started? That might help some people. I think there's two questions I want to ask. One is, how did you get started, and what was your, if you don't mind sharing, and you don't have to, but that was last year, so a little over a year
Hmm.
ago. And as far as weight, so I'm assuming that since then your fibromyalgia has decreased or gone. So what's the status of that? Let's start there.
Okay, health wise, I have no vertigo. The symptoms of vertigo have gone.
Wow.
Also, the headaches, I don't have it. I don't think I know where my bottle of ibuprofen is. If you ask me, I won't be able to
Okay.
find it.
Wow.
And my joint pain, before I had to go down each step 1 foot at a time. you know,
Hmm.
but now I run up and down the stairs. I look forward to exercising. And I know that now that I don't have to do these marathon exercise, that, just hours and hours of exercising. I can do,
Yeah.
10, 30 minutes, and I still feel like, you know, still feel that energy that
I
I,
see.
yeah. And so just health wise, I don't have any of the symptoms that I had before. No joint pain in my knees, which is awesome. And
Hmm.
I used to go to the chiropractor every 2 weeks. So now I only go, I rarely go. I haven't seen Will in a long time.
Okay. Okay.
So health wise, I feel so much better. And
Right.
I actually um, have gone running with my daughter.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay.
Absolutely. So I'm doing a lot of it because I was a soldier, so I was very a healthy person and a very active person, and then I gained a lot of weight just through because of my health issues. I was taking steroids, and that added a lot of weight to me.
Okay. Okay.
So after taking going off of the steroids, I had all that weight, but it was hard for me to exercise because of the joint pain and because of all of the health issues that I was having, that it was just a big spiral.
Yeah. Yeah, that was similar for me. I mean, I lost almost 90 pounds before I started even exercising.
Yeah, my total so far is 86 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
So,
That's
so
fantastic. Okay.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, and when I say that it was, I'm not gonna say it. What I didn't have to think about it. That's why I love about keto so much is that
Hmm.
it was, uh, for me, being able to not focus on my next meal or what I'm eating, if it's healthy, if it's not, and learning what's good for my body to and how my body reacts to food, and
Right.
is what was beneficial for me.
Right.
I know that, I thought that I was doing all the right things before,
Right.
but I got little results, or the results were fleeting. They
So
weren't.
I have a picture that you sent me.
Okay.
I'll share it if that's okay with you.
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to push share screen here,
Uh,
and it should. You can see that, right?
yeah.
So essentially, when last April or so, that was on the left. That was about your weight, correct? You don't have to
Yes.
say the number, but that was right.
Well,
Okay. And,
it was close to 250. So,
okay. All right. And how long ago was the picture on the right taken?
that was um that was just let's say 10 months in,
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. I know, and pretty much without exercising for the most part.
without exercising. Yes.
Right. That's beautiful. All right. Very good. So recapping. So far we're talking about fibromyalgia. We're talking about vertigo.
Mhm.
Obviously, a lot of body fat
Yes.
that has gone. So those things. So how long before, since when you started keto, to the symptoms, or maybe not just the symptoms, but vertigo and fibromyalgia started to go away? Like how long was that process?
It was weeks. I felt
Wow.
results within weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks. Within a month, I didn't notice until I ran up the stairs one day
Hmm.
from my office, um, and then I ran back down, and it just hit me. I just ran down the stairs. Usually,
Yeah.
usually it
Yeah.
would take me a long time. I would have to plan to go down the stairs in my home because it took me a while.
I see.
But it was weeks, and I felt the results, and I was able to go walking to walk my dogs effortlessly, um,
Mm.
and I was able to wear heels again.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because
All right.
for 15 years I've been wearing flats, so it was nice to go shoe shopping again.
So let me make sure I understand this correctly. You're saying before you lost most of the weight, when you were first just starting to lose weight, you hadn't lost most of it yet. these symptoms and these problems started to go away. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, they
Okay.
did.
So a lot of people will say, oh, it's because you lose weight that all these problems go away. And I say, no, I mean, yeah, losing weight can help for sure. But a lot of people that I talk with, issues tend to go away before they really lose the weight. And
Right.
that was my experience. For example, you know, one of the reasons I started keto, and it was for my back pain, because I was having so much back pain. Yes, I was overweight for sure, but I was having so much back pain that many times I couldn't stand up. I had to lay down. I had to sit
Yeah.
down. And I think it was New Year's Eve, 2017, into 2018, that I couldn't even stand at all. Like I
Mm.
literally had to lay down. And I'm like, oh, okay. At that time I was only 36. So I said, oh, you know, and I was taking a lot of ibuprofen, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I wasn't happy about the way I looked at my weight on top of that. And I had severe sleep apnea. And it's funny that retroactively looking at it, I realized I had a lot more issues than I even knew I had at the time. Because you don't know what you're supposed to feel like until you feel better, right?
Right.
So for me, you know, within 2 weeks, my back pain it went from, you know, being extreme to, I would say, reduction of 80% within 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
by 4 weeks, it was almost totally gone. And that was
Yes.
before I lost most of the weight. So for me, that was like a miracle. And I said, oh, I'm just going to stick with this. Like, you know, and I was losing weight, but it was really that. And then, you know, a few months down the road, I noticed that my sleeping was getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I got re-diagnosed and I didn't have sleep apnea anymore. And I would say a lot of that probably had to do with the weight loss over time, the sleep apnea thing for sure. But other things that really changed for me was mental health.
Yeah.
So I used to get depressed quite often, most of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and in the last since starting, I haven't been depressed at all. And my anxiety has been greatly reduced, and I feel more confident, just meant overall. So I was just curious: have you seen any mental health differences in yourself?
Yes, you mentioned anxiety.
Mhm.
You mentioned depression.
Yeah.
Also, just because I'm a social person, or at least I like to think that I'm a social person.
Yeah.
And I'm married to a very social person. And
Okay.
my not wanting to go out, not wanting to be around people,
Mhm.
not not even just wanting to call people on the phone, yeah, and
Yeah.
or even engage in social media or anything that had to do with just I just kept in my own bubble.
Yeah.
And so now I'm out. I'm
Right. Okay.
I have mentioned my heels. I'm wearing my heels and I'm on the dance floor. And
Wow, it's beautiful.
when I turned 50 while I was doing keto. And
Mhm.
so I've just labeled myself as 50 and fabulous because
Oh,
that's
wow.
how I felt. Because I felt fabulous. I lost 35 pounds in the first month. And
Mm.
it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't about the weight, it was about how I felt.
Yeah.
Because I felt all of those things that were weighing me down, the vertigo, the fibromyalgia, the joint pain, that kept me from being with people that I loved, from doing things that I loved, and just being me. So
Yeah.
now when I smile, it's genuine.
That's great. I want to ask you about before you started keto and now, and it's okay if like not, I'm not saying everything's going to be fixed, but I'm thinking this might be. Did you have food addictions prior to starting keto? And if so, let me ask you this. Did you have food addictions prior to starting keto?
Um, well, I never met a potato chip that I didn't like.
Okay.
I did
Okay.
I did love potatoes. Any way you want to cook them, I had potatoes. So potato
Okay.
chips, fried French fries, any type of potato I loved. So I think I was addicted to uh, pretty much fried foods.
Fried foods. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And how since transitioning to this new way of eating since last April? So for those who are watching, it's July of the next year. So it's about, I'm not quite a year and a half.
Yeah.
So um, do you feel like you're still addicted to that food, or is it a struggle for you to avoid it, or how is it mentally and hormonally?
No. When we go out and if we're just getting burgers, most places accommodate you and you can get a side salad. And
Right.
so the side salad satiates me as much as those potatoes did, those French
Right.
fries did, and I'm actually more satisfied because I feel better because
Yeah.
those carbohydrates are fleeting.
Yeah.
They make you feel good for a short period of time, and then they drag you down.
Yeah.
So that and I feel like I don't think about food. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I don't think about what I'm eating. I just know that uh, if I don't know something, I will read a label, and that's one of the good things too, is that I'm looking at what I'm eating and
Right.
what I'm putting in my body and how it affects me. And I know that if I eat a lot of carbohydrates, I know that I have those people say you should have a cheat day, and that will help you get over those humps of when you have cravings.
Mm.
But I ate a piece of cake on my birthday recently,
Hmm.
and I felt I didn't feel good, so it
Yeah.
wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Well, the reason it's amazing because that stuff is not food. It's just garbage. I mean, it tastes good, and it's not like you can't have a piece of cake. You did, but it's
Yeah,
funny how as soon as you eat that, your body lets you know like what it is. So when you're absent for it for a while, when you reintroduce it, your body just tells you. It's kind of funny that it's really your body's very intelligent, obviously.
it is. It was like
Yeah.
we haven't had this in a year. What is up with you?
Yeah. So, and I imagine when you eat meat or vegetables, you don't get that response. So,
I don't.
right. So, can you tell me like about what is your uh, diet like now, how about when you started versus where it is now? Are there any differences? Is it basically the same? And
Well,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, when I started, I just focused on what I was eating,
Mm-hmm.
and just keeping and kept track of my macros, which is important, especially when you're first starting, is
Right.
to see what you're eating, and count those macros and make sure that you're eating within the guidelines of keto.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then I introduced intermittent fasting, which is
Mm-hmm.
just basically an eating window. So basically, I did not eat for 16 hours, and then I had an 8-hour eating window, and I adjusted that based on my lifestyle.
Right.
And now, and that was then, and now I noticed that um, my I'm satiated for longer periods of time, so my eating window is smaller and smaller over time.
Right.
So now I just can do like an hour window,
Mm-hmm.
just have that
Right.
one meal, and
Right.
that's satisfying. Or sometimes, I know it's bad to say, but I can go 36 hours without eating and not work, and it's not a big deal.
Well, I wouldn't say it's bad personally. Like I've done the same thing. So it's really amazing because you don't really feel that hungry.
Right.
And when you do get hungry, it's not the type of hunger you get when you're eating a normal carbohydrate-based diet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, I could eat or I could not eat. It's not a big deal. Really. So,
Right.
and I just made a video about this. I just put it up on the YouTube channel about people who are doing keto for a while but are not doing intermittent fasting and how I think they're kind of missing out because if you're trying to lose, if you're still trying to lose body fat and not just maintain, but if you're trying to lose body fat, then the point of the ketogenic diet for most people, aside from all the other benefits, is to use your own body fat for energy, right?
Right.
And so doing the diet itself helps get you there, but if it already is helping you with your hunger, then going longer periods of time, you won't be using the food, you'll be using your own body fat. So it's just really like a brother and sister kind of thing together. It's not like one versus the other. They just
Yeah.
complement each other really well. So I almost look at the ketogenic diet as a way to get you body used to using body fat plus be able to go longer periods of time without eating because you get the benefits both ways. Also the benefits of like muscle sparing. So it kind of protects your lean body mass and increased energy and focus and all the mental benefits you get too by not eating. So there's, I'm right there with you is what I'm saying, when it comes to fasting. I'm a big proponent of that. All right, cool. So how about this? If you could go back and tell yourself something when you first started, maybe something that you've learned or whatever, what might it be?
To not be a slave to the scale.
Okay.
Yeah. There are gonna be weeks when you lose 7 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's gonna be a week when you lose 1.
Right.
But don't lose focus and don't be discouraged. And that's one of the things that I learned and that I instill every day now is that tomorrow's another day. So keep focused and keep doing what you're doing. Your body knows and it's not about always the amount of pounds per the scale. When I put on before I wore a size 22. Now I put on a size 12.
Okay.
And that's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. And also I'm saving money because the 22, when you wear a plus size, you pay a little more for your clothing. So,
yeah. Okay.
So I'm saving money as well. So it's just and it feels good when I pop that tag on that 12 and I pull those pants up. I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm focusing on, not that 1 pound that I saw difference. I'm going to focus on me being able to button up those 12s. So that I'm more positive now because I can see results. I look in the mirror and I say, how do you feel? And you look good for 51.
Right. So I used to wear size 40 to 42 jeans.
Oh, wow.
And now I wear a size 30 and 30 as the pants I buy. And it's funny. And I just had this realization today. I forgot my belt. I travel for work every week. And first pretty much week, I forgot to pack a belt. And so I said, oh, these pants are not that loose on me. I'll be pretty good. And lo and behold, the pants are like falling off of me. So and the scale really hasn't moved much in a while. So it's funny that I can see that I'm losing body fat, just the scale doesn't necessarily reflect. And I noticed that I'm gaining some more muscle. So that's something that I would say to people out there is that don't focus on the weight loss, focus on gaining muscle, losing body fat, because your scale might not change, but your body composition could be changing.
Yes.
So, yes. Don't, like I said, that's a great advice. Don't stress about the scale. And I would say don't weigh yourself every day either.
No, I stopped doing it every day and then started doing it once a week. And then I started doing it every 3 weeks.
Okay. Right.
So, and that actually seemed, I don't even know where my scale is now.
I mean, you feel good, you look good. I mean, who cares, right? I mean, honestly, that's it. You're healthy. So that's great. Have you seen a doctor at all since then? That's maybe someone that you used to see that's seeing you now? Have they said anything about what you're doing or?
Well, they asked me how I lost weight, and I told them that I changed my lifestyle to a ketogenic lifestyle. And they asked me how was it, and I said, well, you see the results. You saw that I weighed 248 when I came in here last, and now I'm, in the 160s. So,
okay.
And I'm not done with my journey, but I think that, I'm not where I started, and that's what you should focus on as well. If you see results, then that's what you should be happy about. But also, one doctor that I did see thought that it, doesn't believe in the keto. So that's not a person that I talk to about it.
Okay. That's good. Yeah. That's something I talk to people about. They say, well, my doctor said this. And I say, okay, we'll find a new doctor because I mean, that's the only other, unless you want to go down the rabbit hole with them, they all have their ways of thinking and it's very, antiquated and everyone's taught the same thing. based off of what I would call junk science. So, but there are good doctors out there, especially there's a doctor I see in Pennsylvania. His name is Eric Sodikoff, and he's kind of a specialist in low carb diets, and he's obesity medicine and general practitioner. So there are some good ones out there. So if you're out there and your doctor is discouraging you, find a new doctor. So that's what I would do. And there's even a website, maybe I can link in the description, which actually will find low carb specialist doctors in your area. So I'll link that. So last question, for anyone who might be dealing with fibromyalgia or vertigo or any of the, issues that you dealt with, any kind of piece of advice you might have for them?
I would say give the keto lifestyle a chance. Give it 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks to 30 days, and just to see the results, because you're eating good food. You're eating healthy. It's not like and you don't have to buy any you don't have to buy like this specialized powders and like mixes that that other manufactured diets recommend,
right. Right.
That those diets that you have to buy the food in order to receive results, and then once you stop eating their packaged foods, then your results go back to the way it was, because you're not taught. You're teaching yourself a better lifestyle and a better way to eat. Like when we go out, I don't suffer from there's always something on the menu that I can find to eat.
Of course, yeah.
And you always default to a salad.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I will say my last thought about that is, when it comes to, a lot of keto has become pretty popular now. And because of that, a lot of companies have jumped on the bandwagon, and they're making basically processed food, junk food that's keto friendly. And I would say avoid those as much as possible. Like, for example, the foods I eat are basically eggs, bacon, steak, chicken, fish. Vegetables I eat would be asparagus or Brussels sprouts or broccoli or lettuce, things like that. Butter, basically things that you would find in nature. And I just, eat a low carb, pretty low, I would say personally, very low carb diet. Sometimes I eat nuts here and there, but basically, I really don't eat any processed food. And so don't believe people if they tell you need products to do keto. That is not true. I think at the beginning, maybe some products can help. For instance, like some exogenous ketones, I think can help people like in the very beginning, because sometimes the transition over to keto is difficult for people. Especially you might feel not that great at the beginning. So some of those products can help, but long-term, I don't think that you need any products. You just need to eat real food, whole foods. And you don't even have to spend that much money, because if you can do it enables you to do the fasting easier. So you can go to eat one meal a day. And then when you eat your one meal, you can spend more money on the food quality. So, or 2 meals or whatever, as compared to eating 6 times and snacking all day and buying junk food and everything else. Which ends up costing more money. And I noticed that myself, I cook a lot. I never used to cook, and just kind of rewired my brain, all this stuff. And I cook a lot now. And so I don't even eat out that much anymore. I used to eat all the time. So I would say it was far more expensive pre-keto, my food, than it is now, even though I eat much better quality food, grass-fed meats and everything else. So, so I wanted to thank you, Shante, for your time and for sharing your story. We're right about a half an hour, so I'd like to keep these things 30 minutes or less. Nobody wants to sit there and watch 2-hour videos. So, right. So I have one 2-hour video on my channel. I'm like, I don't know who's watching that thing. So, So I wanted to thank you again, and I just really appreciate your time.
Oh, you're welcome, Troy. My pleasure.